We have been covering BioWare left and right this past week. Earlier, we talked about Corinne Busche no longer being with the company. Can I have you something? Well, they found themselves a new job at Wizards of the Coast, the people that run Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, you've heard that right. Corinne Busche, who's also known as Andrew Bush, who's a transgender woman, or at least a pretend woman, is now part of Wizards of the Coast. If you remember, we talked about it. They were the director of Dragon Age of Veilguard, or as I like to call it, the Failguard, a game that basically flopped. Probably lost EA and BioWare millions of dollars. There's a rumor going around now that the Edmonton studio should be shutting down like any day now this month. There's been a little bit of a contention between whose sources are correct between Jeff Grubb, who's a woke, apparently headline stealing journalist, and Smash JT and Grum's sources. I'm going to lean towards Grum's and Smash JT because a lot of what they say has substantial evidence shown to back it up, while Grub's is just usually word of mouth. But that's all here nor there. BioWare's in trouble. Lots of people are getting laid off. We also talked about the restructuring, how people are being moved to different teams, but they also said in a roundabout way that the whole power of the whole studio, the full studio, won't be needed for the next Mass Effect game. So they're going to be laying people off here. Corinne Busche was an interesting situation because they tried to make it seem like they were a little optimistic on the way out, that their job was done, that they did a good job, that they were proud of their work. But we all know what really happened here, guys. If Veilguard didn't fail, Corinne Busche would still be at BioWare. At the end of the day, don't sugarcoat it. Well, now they're at Wizards of the Coast, which is a company that's also been getting a lot of fucking backlash as of late with what they've been doing with Dungeons and Dragons. If you look at the monster manual and different stuff that's being implemented as far as rules go with Dungeons and Dragons, there's a lot of woke bullcrap being injected into it. Everything from people needing to write X's on their hands if they feel triggered about something so the DM could coddle them. I mean, just if you look at websites like that Park Place and Fandom Pulse, they've been covering a lot of this Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Bounding into Comics is another good one. I haven't really touched on it on this channel because I'm not as aware of tabletop games and stuff like that. I did play Dungeons and Dragons a little bit when I was in middle school, but it wasn't as criticized as it is now. They've been coming under fire for quite some time, especially when you've seen stuff of, they're promoting like weird, creepy, groomy BDSM, like trans LGBTQ pro stuff in this game. It has nothing to do with a fantasy setting, which is similar to what happened with Veilguard. There was all the controversy of top surgery scars in the created character on Veilguard. Why is that in a fantasy game? We also had that whole cutscene about what a barv is, where the example used was, oh, I misgendered somebody. Let me go do a barv and do 10 push-ups as punishment to show that I'm truly sorry. Like, it's this whole coddling and catering to small percentage of people so that we don't offend them. We have to walk on eggshells and prove that we're sorry and we're scared of them. Like, I don't understand this whole mentality of being afraid of a small percentage of people that will try to cancel you when they really can't cancel you. Anyways, it's transferred into everything, especially Dungeons and Dragons, where on Fandom Pulse, they're talking about a lot of stuff, saying that they incorporated BDSM fetish community practices in the game for safe spaces, that the handbook is filled with imagery of certain things that are pretty woke, that the females are of a margin of more than 5-1 for white male characters, which is the exact opposite of the demographic of who plays the game. And also, there's been other reasons why the game has had scrutiny, but according to Diversity in Dragons, which this is where the whole story has broken out of, Diversity in Dragons, shout out to them, they put a video out confirming that Corinne Busche is at the company. An inside source at Wizards of the Coast told them that the infamous game director from Dragon Age of Veilguard, Corinne Busche, who added extreme transgender propaganda into Veilguard, is now working at the company. Which now this just means that Wizards of the Coast is going to become even more infected with all this nonsense. All this nonsense that, in my opinion, has no business being in games. She already helped kill, or should I say they? I'm not catering to this. Oh, that's a she. Okay. That's a dude pretending to be a woman. You know, they ruined BioWare already. They destroyed it and they left in its wake. People are going to be losing their jobs here. Just remember the other day they downsized to less than 100 people at BioWare, with the entire story team of Dragon Age of Veilguard getting cut. We talked about how all these woke writers that wrote for the game, they're gone now. They have been cut loose. Who knows if they're going to find their footing elsewhere or if they're going to be moved to Mass Effect. But this restructuring is just a roundabout way of saying that people have gotten fired. So Bush, if you remember, they posted a Blue Sky with this whole encouragement, optimistic, I want to encourage everyone not to read too much into this. This was my decision, and I love making these kind of RPGs, and thank you for entrusting me with the Dragon Age brand, and it was an honor, and blah, 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 like cutting it up. These people will never admit when they failed. They will never admit when they've done wrong. They never admit when they've insulted gamers. They'll never admit when they injected politics. And in fact, Corinne Busche is trying to say that Veilguard failed because there was a hate campaign against it. They will blame everything but themselves. They'll blame gamers like you and me, the gamers that listen to rage bait grifters and we're right-wing grifters and whatever, that we just want to have hate, that we can't think for ourselves. That's how these guys operate. And now they're going to be working on an upcoming Dungeons and Dragons game. So, according to the inside source that told Diversity and Dragons, Skeleton Key Studios, who's the people making the video game, hired Bush to work on this new video game. And again, it's coming in the wake of Dungeons and Dragons, more particularly Dark Alliance, getting shut down this past month. Remember Dark Alliance? It was a game that was actually worked on by, surprise, surprise, Sweet Baby Inc., another woke consultancy firm that's been a topic of controversy all year. They are literally destroying things in their wake. And now we got Corinne Busche in here. Why do these people hire these guys that don't know anything about video games, that just alienate the consumer base? They want to double down on forcing diversity. I mean, don't you see what's going on here? Oh, well, normal players don't care about it. Yeah, you're right. Normal players don't care about it. That's why they're not supporting this. On top of that, Smash JT has also verified this through his own industry contacts, confirming this rumor, and basically told Fandom Pulse it's all connected behind the scenes. I mean, if you really think about it, there's a strange timing between BioWare laying people off and then Dungeons and Dragons video games getting laid off. Look, all right? It's a whole bunch of retards that have no business being in the gaming industry, working on video games, and they're using it as a political platform. So go check out Fandom Pulse. Go check out Smash JT. I just wanted to give my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.